you, February 15th, and the time is 6:30 p.m. We have a roll call, please.
Director, start in the middle. Director Duda.
Here.
Director Otto.
Here.
Director Cobb.
Here.
Director Jones.
Here.
And Director Flores.
Here.
Yeah, quorum.
Okay.
Madam President, if I could, before you all get started.
Yes.
Given the length that your meetings have been going lately, been doing some thinking about how to curtail the district's increasing fees that y'all are expending on legal services, other consultants and whatnot. And the only way I know to do that is to not participate beyond a certain point in the evening. So McGinnis Law Group will continue to participate in this meeting until 8:30. That gives y'all 2 hours to get your business done. If y'all have additional business, you'll either have to conduct business yourselves and make some decisions, or otherwise wait till the next meeting to continue your business. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Agenda item 3, citizen communication. Has everybody who wished to speak signed up at the podium? Yes? Okay. When I call your name, just head on up to the podium. You'll have 2 minutes to address the board. I just want to repeat that this is a time for residents to speak to us about issues that are concerning them, but the board cannot respond to you at this time. And I just want to make sure everyone knows that that's not because we're ignoring you or because we aren't listening to what you're saying. It's because we have to stick to our agenda for the evening. So this is your opportunity to tell us what you're thinking. First on the list is Sarah Teal.
Does the flashing red light indicate that this is off or on?
Yes, it's off. If you tap it, it should turn green.
There you go. Thank you. It has been brought to my attention from a friend in the neighborhood that during our recent winter storm, when hundreds of people here in Anderson Mill West were without power, that Board President Megan Dudo extended the use of this taxpayer-funded building at 1000 Old Mill as a warming center to her Facebook friends. This was an emergent situation that should have prompted an emergency meeting of the board to be called to make sure that all residents are safe, warm, and cared for using district amenities. At the very least, the rolling sign and the freshly created district-wide email list should have been utilized to let as many neighbors as possible know that the Old Mill building was a safe and warm place that they all could use. It is not the first time that district resources have been directed inequitably towards a certain group of people that hold favor with specific board members. But this one is particularly egregious because there were people truly in harm's way that were essentially excluded from using a publicly funded amenity in their time of need. From my perspective, the way this emergency was dealt with is simply another situation and a long string of actions that do not follow the proper protocol of an ethical, lawful, and fully functioning local government. I hope this board takes the time to revisit what happened in the wake of the last storm critically, so better decisions can be made the next time a dangerous situation like this presents itself. Thank you.
Next up is Deborah Dahl.
She introduced me, so I'll leave it this way: man, it's been a rough year, and did a lot of praying, did a lot of thinking, and the most effective thing that we can do is be honest with each other. And thanks, like you sure did, from China. I've been terrorized even February 2nd, and I'm not sure why. I'm an extremely truthful person. And I jumped into this arena because it was explained to me differently than the mud I walked through, no pun intended. So I'm not safe. I got FBI, hate crimes, I got internal affairs in my house, detective who did what, and why? Because someone doesn't like me? If I don't like somebody, I don't be around them. I don't go to their domicile. And then the other thing that bothers me, because I rabbit trail, is that if the rules apply in this room, the rules should apply to every single time I have asked for record requests that have been denied, ignored, and or otherwise. And we own that paper. So the whole cabal of everything I'm saying is stop. We need to go home and say, what are we really doing? I'm a really decent person. I was just really naive to what I stepped into. And it came back and splashed me in the face. That doesn't mean that I don't stand on solid ground. It means that I'm going to do my homework and at least protect myself. I live by myself. I don't use my disability. I have a different ability. And one of them is to get to the bottom of what will benefit us all. And I don't see that. And so I get permission to, only to protect myself, I have to send cease and desist letters. You stop talking about me. If you don't like me, don't talk about me. And it's still going on months later. And I wonder, I don't have kids, but if I had kids, I would put an ivory bar of soap in their mouth for the things I've heard. And so because I don't operate on that level, as smart as intellectual as I think I am, man, I was stupid walking into this noise. Because I was lied to, I was aimed, all that kind of stuff. And because I was trying to do what was right, instead of vendetta or get somebody. And the only thing I brought here was, and your names are on them, is to protect myself so that you understand I'm frightened. I might not look like it. My disability is not a wheelchair you can tip over. My disability is that I survived what someone else did to me. And maybe that makes me more sensitive, but in no way does it change my intellect or make me stupid on any level. And if you all spend some time around me, you might find that you might want to be my neighbor or my friend. You just never took the time. And that kind of makes me sad, quite frankly. And I got permission from him just to, he said, is there powder in it? I'm like, not that kind. And so I asked permission only, there's nothing legal in here, there's nothing wrong in here, it's allowed to be delivered this way. This is nothing ugly, it's just statutes of the law. And I think that's what we should be doing. SAC is following the law in all areas. And that's all I got.
Thank you. Okay. That concludes the citizen portion comment of the meeting. Agenda item 4, I think this is on here again, the director's fees and reimbursements review. We must not have caught it. It was on here last month, shouldn't be on here. So agenda item 5, consent.
Before we go on, can I make a motion here at 4? But I know we're going to remove it, but I'd like to make a motion here in this spot,
Okay.
if you wouldn't mind. I motion to permanently modify the order of business, moving the engineer's report after the citizens' communication to mitigate the cost of the engineer's attendance at meetings.
Y'all have a agenda item under Rules of Order, number 12, so will be appropriate for that.
I'd like to move the order of it now.
I second that motion.
It's up to the board.
If we have an agenda item that addresses this issue, are you asking to move are you asking to move his report to the beginning right now? Is that what you're asking?
Now and forever after, so that he comes first and then is excused from the meeting.
Okay, I have no problem moving him to now for this meeting, and if you want to make a motion for subsequent meetings under the rules of order, then you can do that then.
Do you mind repeating your motion?
To permanently modify, well, I guess it won't be permanently. I'd like to make this motion. To permanently modify the order of business, moving the engineer's report after the citizen communication to mitigate the cost of the engineer's attendance at meetings.
Okay, and I'm suggesting that that motion be made under the relevant agenda item. But for tonight, I'm happy to move Mr. Edmondson to this this time slot, if that's amenable to him.
So can I second that motion?
It's up to the board.
Well, I second that
So
motion.
do you withdraw the motion or are you keeping the motion?
Well, we're going to move him tonight?
We're moving him tonight.
Okay, so then the motion stands.
I heard Edmondson. Was it Evans or Edmondson?
Edmondson.
Yeah, I think I heard Director say Evans.
No, I just said it.
Okay.
I meant her. I mean
We're talking
her.
about the same E people.
Yes.
And with the second, I would like to explain why, since we're in discussion.
Okay.
And I will make another motion when we get to rules of order, if you'd like, and make it again to make it a permanent thing.
Well, no, we don't need to make the same motion twice. You can, well, if the board would like to vote on the motion now instead of under the appropriate agenda item, and we have 3 directors who would like to do that. Do we have 3 directors who would like to do that now?
Can we discuss it first, please? I
I'd
gotta
like to
say.
know your reasoning behind it.
Okay.
Same.
In order to reduce the $800 per hour price tag to hold a public meeting, contractors should not sit through hours of meeting material that has no bearing on their contracted services. This month's invoice from the engineer includes 15 hours of meeting preparation and attendance at a cost of almost $4,000. The district financials, investment policy, audit discussion, and deed enforcement business has no bearing on the contracted services of Gray Engineering, and the costs of his meeting attendance can be mitigated by adjusting the order of his report to the board. That's why I made the motion, to move him up to the top of the agenda so that he can get his business covered with the board, and then he can go home.
Can I speak?
I guess we're doing this now, so go ahead.
I think the word permanent is a pretty big word, and that's the part that I can't vote on that, because there's places where he'll be needed at other times in different places in here. So permanently is a pretty strong word.
Dr. Avila.
I mean, I do agree with that. I mean, I think it's very logical that we, cut costs when not needed. My concern is, if we do need, engineering advice for something that comes up during the meeting and he's not here, my concern is, who do we go to ask those questions? But, I mean, at the same time, we do have to be cautious, and, it makes total sense. So, I mean, I don't know if you're willing to maybe amend the motion to where if no engineering item is discussed in the agenda throughout, then we can for sure, I would agree with that. But, what if next month we have an agenda item, beginning a report and then agenda item, whatever. An hour later, we still need the engineer's insight on something. So, I mean, if there's any way to amend your motion to where
Okay, I can amend
it
it.
allows us to.
I can amend it.
I just want to say,
Okay,
that if it's
hold
going to
on.
end at 8:30 every
Okay,
time
hold
now,
on,
then
hold
why
on,
do we need to
hold
change
on.
it?
Please wait. You're gonna amend your.
I'm going to amend it. That the order of business moves the engineer's report after the citizen's communication to mitigate the cost of the engineer's attendance at meetings, and if there are any other agenda items that involve the engineer, they be moved up next to his. Better?
Director Flores, do you second the adjusted amendment
I second the modified
or motion?
motion.
Sorry. Okay. I have no issue doing that. Director Flores, did you have any?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, what other, usually parks is usually where he would have other information that he would need, so, to me, it would make sense to move him up to right after citizens communication, and then parks follow right after, so really after that, he doesn't, that's really, is that correct, Herb? Usually, infrastructure
Yeah.
committee as well.
Any projects too.
So maybe if we move those up to the top, we can get him home to his wife as soon as
He
possible.
also waits for his check too, so he'll always wait until y'all do the signing of checks. Have to keep that in mind.
Why have we put it to 8:30?
But yeah, I don't have a problem with moving him up on the agenda.
Okay, let's just do a show of hands. All in favor of the motion? Aye. Opposed? No? Okay, motion passes. All right. Agenda item 5, consent agenda. Do we have,
Here from Personnel?
I'm sorry. Mr. Edmondson.
All right, well, thank y'all, even for the consideration. And I guess now that even before bills and invoices, those just get mailed like everybody else. Or you don't
They
put
do,
them?
but it happens right after, so it's if they sign and approve, then yours will get signed within minutes of your report being due.
Okay, I just gotta be able to go back and face
I
it.
put yours on top, so it got signed first.
Okay, thank you, appreciate that. The infrastructure met on February the 7th. Out of that discussion of numerous items, the one thing that came up and became clear was really needing to look at this 5-year capital improvement project list that's going on. We've had some changes, obviously, with the Hatch lift station project this year and the cost that came in on that. So the infrastructure discussed having a committee to work on that. I said, well, we ought to talk to the board about that and go from there. I don't see this being really more than a couple of meetings, and just for a not to exceed number, just to have something, we just said 2,500. I don't see spending anywhere near that, but at the same time, it's just a number. We bill hourly, not the 2,500.
Okay.
I have a question for you. Do you have a 5-year plan that you're working from now? Something that you're going to carry forward?
There was, and I know that we've had some changes on that due to budgets, including even the metering installations, and that's what came up that needed to be relooked at and revised.
Okay. Can I ask you a question about one of your invoices,
Sure.
please? On January 3rd, you billed for reviewing and responding to a request concerning the district leasing property for an outside entity. What was that about?
January 3rd.
It says reviewing and responding to a request concerning the district leasing property for an outside entity. Any ideas?
Yeah. I can't remember the full details on that. I can forward you that in the morning.
Okay, I would appreciate it. Where did you get, who assigned you that work?
I will just have to pull that and send it to you in the morning.
Because those are additional services that require the committee to submit an additional service form. And I'm not sure who assigned this additional work to him, and who made the decision for him to make a decision. It's kind of convoluted. Thank you, Herb. I'd appreciate it if you'd send me what you have on that so I can unsort it.
And just for clarity also, whatever I send, I'm going to send through Zach's office to do the distribution so everybody has the same information.
Perfect. That's perfect. Thank you.
Okay, we need a motion on the capital improvement plan. Do we have a motion on that?
Yeah, I have a motion that we budget, I think 25 up to $2,500 for the initial preliminary capital improvement plan.
Okay, a second.
Who's that?
Go ahead and let Megan have this one.
I seconded.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Director Flores, did you have anything you wanted to comment on?
No, ma'am.
Director Buck,
Nope.
did you want to say anything else?
Yeah, and the reason why I want to emphasize some preliminary is, during committee, we talked about, again, back what you just mentioned, right, the 5 years plan. So, ideally, we would like to see if we can accomplish that from a, infrastructure standpoint. So, my hope is that we can do that from a sort of, I guess, initial standpoint, and then we'll assess if we need more after that. So that's all.
Okay, Director Jones?
No, I agree. Fine.
Okay, can we call the vote, please?
Director Jones.
Yes.
Director Avila.
Yes.
Director Duda.
Yes.
Director Cobb.
Yes.
Director Flores.
Yes.
Ayes have it.
Okay. All right, agenda item 5, consent agenda. Do we have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion, please,
Okay,
to remove the bills and invoices off the consent agenda to deliberate the errors contained within them.
do we have a second?
Can you repeat your motion again?
Remove the bills and invoices off of the consent agenda to deliberate the errors contained within them.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor of removing the bills and invoices from the consent agenda, raise your hand. Okay, all opposed?
We needed to discuss it. After the second, it's discussion,
Deliberation?
It's a
deliberation.
procedural motion.
No, I
so-
changed it. I actually worded it the way he gave it last week, or last month. It is not a procedural motion, because of my motion including
Whatever
deliberation.
3 of you decide prevails. I don't care what rules you've adopted or decided that you don't want to follow. 3 directors just voted against your motion. The motion fails. That's my advice to the chair.
Okay, motion fails. Do we have another motion regarding the consent agenda?
I motion to remove January 18th meeting minutes off the agenda since we don't have them.
That's correct.
Okay. Can we do that without a vote, since we don't have them, or do we need a vote, Mr. Evans?
If y'all want to do that by unanimous consent, that's what I would advise.
Okay, do we all consent to that, since we don't have them? Great, okay. Do we have a third motion on the consent agenda?
I have a motion
Yes.
to permanently remove the payment of bills and invoices from the consent agenda and make it a standing agenda item.
Okay, do we have a second?
Can you restate that again?
Permanently remove the payment of bills and invoices from the consent agenda and make it a standing agenda item.
I mean, permanently removing, like just,
So it's no longer on a consent agenda and not deliberated. It would actually entail deliberation.
So it'd be like the engineer's report on there, we would discuss it. The bills and invoices, we would discuss it.
If we don't
Do we have a
deliberate,
second?
I'll
Okay,
second.
okay, we have a motion and a second. Director Jones.
No, I have nothing to say.
Okay, Director Avila.
okay, so, I mean, I am interested in hearing the issues you're finding, and I think it's important that we talk about it. My concern is that they are, I mean, we don't know the amount of errors you're finding, and, I mean, as we've talked last meeting, these are things that directors can directly address with contractors, get answers to those, and so then it goes to committee. My concern is that we're sort of, you know, again, discussing everything that we discuss at committee level here, where it is my understanding last time is that any errors that you could directly address the contractor and get those answered. So,
did you get to see the errors I submitted?
Did you ask Director Cobb a question, or are you still talking?
my question is, well, not a question, my concern is it's, you know, where is the limit? Because if we talk about all the details and errors, you know, it could take a long time. That's all I'm saying.
No, not really.
Okay, Director Cobb?
Items included in a consent agenda can be described as routine, standard, non-controversial, and self-explanatory. There is no question that spending taxpayers' dollars is one of the most important responsibility of every director and a top priority for every taxpayer. Examining the bills and invoices for errors or omissions is a fiduciary duty entrusted to all of us. There is nothing routine or non-controversial about the bills and invoices. Spending nearly $250,000 per month to run the district is a huge sum of money, and approving it without any discussion is ludicrous, especially given the invoicing errors and omissions identified each month, which are going uncorrected and not credited back to the district. Voting to approve the recommendation of a committee without any discussion is literally the definition of rubber stamping. The expectation of the consent agenda is to approve the recommendation of the Bills and Invoices Committee, and then that committee meeting needs to be properly noticed and convened as an open public meeting so that the material can be deliberated in public. Refer to Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, Open Meetings Act Handbook, page 17 and 18, that I provided for reference to Agenda Item 15. My point here is the errors that I'm finding are not being addressed. I'm not getting answers. I don't believe they're going to the committee for consideration, and there are no credits issued on the check register this month, which tells me they weren't corrected. And this month's batch is even worse. So if we're not going to talk about them, then you're asking us to rubber stamp what the committee looked at, and there are errors that are not corrected. Lots of them. So where do we discuss them? How do we deliberate them? I can't give them to you. I've given them to Infomart and to the bookkeeper, but if they're not coming back to you, then you don't know about them. You're not looking for the credits on the next month's check register. And so I've got 3 months where there's no credits issued, and this month is enormous. There's a duplicate payment of $40,000 on there. It's big. It's not
And you
little
haven't-
amount.
You're saying you haven't gotten any answers as to
No
those
answers.
requests? Okay, fair enough.
Director Flores.
I think Director Fobb has some valid concerns about the payment of bills and invoices. I looked through them and I found several myself that, kind of stuck out to me and I had questions about. Mr. Director Villa, you are the deciding factor. As we have 2 votes here, 2 votes there. Just remember that if it's worth taking a chance and looking at it, if it tends to go 2 hours of deliberation and it takes us forever, we can always re-vote on it. You can make a motion to go back to how it is. We're a very split vote. You're the deciding factor. So you can always change it the direction that you want it to go to. So I just ask that you take the chance to give it an opportunity for Director Fobb to show what she's finding and to have that deliberation. And if it doesn't, if you don't like it, we'll make a motion and you'll have the votes to change it back. But I just ask that you give it a chance to see what Director Fobb has to present and to see if it's valid. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
One thing we could do is to move agenda item 6, review of district financials, to before the consent agenda, because I think that in going through the financials, there is, Ms. Scales, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's typically some discussion of things that were changed or voided, or so you're going to get some of those answers if we did the financials before we approve the payment of the bills and invoices. And at least 2 of us on this board have experienced what it was like not having the bills and invoices on a consent agenda, and the extremely lengthy conversations we would have every single month about the bills and invoices. And just because you've identified something, Director Faub, as a problem, doesn't mean it actually is. And so we're taking up time debating things in a public board meeting that could be addressed outside of a board meeting and don't need to be brought up at a meeting where we're paying all our contractors to be here. So that is another way that we can save the district money, having our contractors be able to leave at a reasonable time, and also us not talking about things for ever and ever that just don't need to be discussed in this particular forum. The suggestion is that they're not being addressed, and they very much are. I looked at the financials, you've looked at the financials, you've looked at the financials, Ms. Scales has looked at the financials. We've all looked at the financials and been over them and talked about them and sent emails about them and texts about them, and they've talked about them. So I don't think we need to take it off. We put it on a consent agenda for a particular reason, and I stand by that decision.
Can I change my mind and just say?
Well, no, we are
Fine.
done deliberation.
Can I have another 3 minutes, please?
Are there 3 directors who want to give another 3 minutes?
Not if we're going to be done at 8:30.
I don't think that, thank you, I don't believe that, that your approach would be absolutely ideal if I got my concerns addressed. But I am telling you that they're not, and I am telling you that there are no credits from last month's errors on the check register, and that there are duplicates on this month's check register that were paid last month. And those kind of mistakes going unaddressed month after month means you're asking me to rubber stamp the recommendation of the Bills and Invoice Committee because nobody will address the errors. If there was an avenue to get the errors addressed and considered and delivered to the Bills and Invoice Committee so that they too would see them, then this could work. And it wouldn't have to be discussed ad nauseum in this meeting, but this is the only avenue for me to discuss it without violating quorum rules. So I look at these things, I know what I'm looking at, I find the errors, I've identified them. And if we approve the consent agenda without discussion, that means that the item contained in it is a decision has been made by the Bills and Invoices Committee to approve these documents without any deliberation. That is the definition of rubber stamping. And the Open Meetings Act does not allow for that. If it is something that meeting minutes that is done by one person, that's easy on a consent agenda. Everybody looks at it, everybody gets to decide if they're right. Bills and invoices is too big, and it's not little amounts. If it was little amounts, I'd let it go. It's big amounts. It's huge amounts. And this month, it was worse than ever before. So this is a record-setting month in errors. And without allowing them to be addressed, you're asking that I rubber stamp them, and I can't do that.
I'll like 3 minutes.
Since Director Fogg got 3 minutes, everyone gets 3 minutes if you want it.
So my concern here is that you mentioned that you've tried to address this with contractors for 3 months and you haven't gotten any answers back.
Well, some contractors for the last 2 years, but with Infomark, every single month I send them the errors. This month I did not, because I didn't get the bills and invoices until after 5 o'clock last night. So I have literally worked all day looking at every single one. So they don't have it yet, but they will have it tomorrow. I have it almost complete.
And you've contacted
Mackenzie, and I've
She did
contacted
contact me
Michelle,
last month
and
for
I've
money
contacted,
And have you provided an answer to the
I
director?
have not. My sole focus for the last month has been the storm cleanup for the last 2 weeks. I just haven't had a chance to answer them, but I will tell you, a lot of the issues addressed are issues I have addressed in the past with Director Fobb and explained why her belief of a problem is not accurate per the
I'm
contract.
not asking you.
standards.
I'm not asking past months. I'm asking this month. Have you had a chance to
I haven't
answer
gotten
them?
an email from her this month.
That's all I need to know.
Okay.
So make your motion, I'll be glad to hear what you have to say.
My motion is to permanently remove the payment of the bills and invoices from the consent agenda and make it a standing agenda item, so that it can be discussed.
Okay. Didn't you already make that?
He asked me
motion?
to repeat it.
Yes, okay. So, does anyone else want their extra 3 minutes? No? Okay. Okay, all in favor of that motion, raise your hand. Okay, all opposed? Okay, ayes have it, motion passes. Okay, so then I guess we have.
Can we ask a question?
No, not anymore on that item.
Bring it up and see.
Okay.
Can I ask a procedural question of Zach?
Go ahead.
Because I don't want to violate any of the quorum rules, but I want the errors, I want these errors that I identified to go to the Bills and Invoice Committee so that they will understand what I see and they can see Mackenzie's response. How do we make that happen without violating anything?
Discuss it in an open meeting.
Okay.
You needed nothing from DRE or landscape.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just making sure.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for,
Thank you.
All right. Good night. Thank y'all.
Okay, so then I guess we just have to discuss the payment of bills and invoices then. Do we have a motion, or I guess we're gonna talk about them. So I'm gonna start with the committee. So Director Jones, did you have anything you wanted to mention about the bills and invoices just now?
No, I know that we had a lot that we talked about this month, and a lot of stuff came out early and late, and we've talked about the problems that we were having, and we should be able to go through some of that tonight. I just want to my biggest thing on the on this is how are we going to do that tonight when we're ending at 8:30? But anyways, keep going.
Okay, Director Avila, did you want to say anything about the bills?
Who made the decision that this meeting would have to end at 8:30?
Nobody's made the decision that it has to end at 8:30,
We just won't have a lawyer.
but we won't have a lawyer anymore.
So the
And-
lawyer just decided to end the meeting today at 8:30?
I'm not telling you I'm at any meeting, I'm telling you that meeting's locked.
No, I
I'm not
understand, but did you
participating
notify
on
any, because I haven't gotten any notification as to
It's
the...
because I just told you,
Okay,
there's been no.
fair enough, okay.
notification.
Okay, so do you have anything?
That's it.
you want
That's
to-
all I
Okay. Okay, Director Fab.
I'll be quick. The total dollar amount of checks that need to be pulled tonight due to errors is $113,389.09. Here they are. Check 6826 to Westar Construction in the amount of $40,115. This invoice was paid last month. The check number is unknown because it was added during the January meeting by Priscilla Lenzen. You'll find Herb's memo recommending payment in the Westar invoice in the board packet for January in the engineering folder. Check number 6828 to Deputy Stenson in the amount of $956.06. There's a calculation error in the hours recorded on February 2nd. Check number 5791 in the packet I got last night was to Sage Management in the amount of $9,436.25. I noticed in what's on the financials tonight when I got to the meeting, that check was scratched and each of the individual payments were checked separately. They have individual checks. So here's the problem. Check number 5795 is invoice number 122. Check number 5798 is also invoice number 122. You can't have a duplicate invoice. Check number 127 for 801 and check number 126 for 903. Those are additional service invoices that have no additional service forms filed with them to explain why the committee has authorized work for this contractor in excess of $200, which is the board limit for additional services for the deed enforcement contractor. They're over the limit by thousands of dollars. And no explanation inside of these invoices. It's required by a board vote for Sage, for engineering, and for legal. If they get assigned work by committee, you must fill out an additional service form. The invoices from Sage for legal research, photo documentation, letters, fine protocols, fine letter database, on and on and on, have no description beyond what I just read. There's no way to validate any of those charges on these invoices because they all lack detail of what they were doing and who directed them to do so. Every one of these additional service invoices needs to be accompanied with the committee's work, additional service form, describing the emergency and why they made the decision to authorize work and expenses to the district. The committee is authorized $200 per month without a board vote. These 4 invoices alone total $3,464. The notifications for October, November, December, the contract says nothing about notifications but requires that letters be sent to alleged violators. No letters or notifications have been made available for review by the full board. May I have 3 minutes? I'm almost done. Can I have 3 minutes?
Yep.
Thank you. The Sage management invoices do not meet the minimum standards of accounting principles, and the bookkeeper should not be accepting them based on the Infomark accounting contract, which claims acting based on standards. The check register is not displaying the credit for the retainer balance, so I can't even subtract off what they've been paid off that retainer balance they had left. Check number 5800 to Brett Properties, the janitorial service, in the amount of $6,863.42. There are several problems with this payment. These invoices go back to November of 2022. Contractually, this provider is supposed to be billing every 30 days. February's invoice shouldn't be in the package because we don't pay for February services until we receive them. January's invoice includes $700 to clean the Anderson Mill West toilet rooms. Those facilities have been closed and locked since before Christmas. There was no cleaning done to them. The same will apply to February's invoice when that is resubmitted for March payment. Until those facilities are open, there is nothing to clean. Check number 5805 to Gray Engineering in the amount of $5,597.54. Invoice 60071 is missing the invoice details. The invoice amount is $750 with no details. Check number 5808 to Triton Consulting Group in the amount of $308 is an invoice for the Meadows at Chandler Creek Mud. It's their web hosting service. It's not our expense. Check number 5810 to McGinnis Lockridge in the amount of $18,912.43 includes multiple invoice recording errors and a duplicate payment on invoice 264530. The Flores litigation, part of that was paid last month. We're repaying it again this month. There's too many on the McGinnis invoice to go over individually, but I will send them to McGinnis Lockridge as soon as possible to be corrected. To the bookkeeper, when the invoice is for litigation, the GL description should reflect that, not restrictive covenant. Missing the additional service form for Touchstone Services, 27205. Missing the additional service form for engineering services. Missing the additional service form for Sage Management. Exceeds the maximum limit allowed. And missing additional service form for the legal services. Missing a payment, no check in the register, but the invoices in the bills and invoice package to Waste Management in the amount of $36,797.93. Those are the mistakes in the invoices this month.
Did you bring a copy of that for each of us?
I didn't, but I will send it to Mackenzie tomorrow, and then since we've discussed it, I imagine there's no harm in me sending it to you guys as well, because we have discussed it. Am I right about that, Zach? I'm not right about that, so you can't have it.
Well, is there any way that we can have it if she sends it over to you, and then we can have that at committee level?
No.
See, that's the fallacy in this.
It's okay, we have it on video, that's fine.
Okay, George.
So, obviously, a lot of mistakes that you found. I found some of those same mistakes as well. I'm wondering if you're able to put it in a share drive that we can all see the mistakes, and would that be okay and not violate a quorum?
The committee just can't discuss it. Like the bills and invoices committee can't discuss it.
Mr. Evans is like.
Say that again?
So if Director Fobb puts it in a share drive with all her mistakes, this way we can all look and we can all ask the vendors, hey, and go to the vendors and make sure, is that okay?
Well, it all depends on whether or not there's going to be a series of communications that
Right.
follows that. So
So-
once that communication goes out to the board and two other, or actually, yeah, if you've initiated that communication outside of the board meeting, so that's one communication. And then once the committee picks it up, that's a series of communication that constitutes a quorum of your board. So I would advise you against taking that action.
So the best way would be to discuss it in a public meeting.
That's correct.
And so how do we go into detail on Director Fobb's findings in a public meeting without having hours of discussion?
I
So,
can knock a few off your list.
That's what I was gonna say, why doesn't McKinsey talk first?
Point of order, interrupting. So yeah, that's just one, I'm having a hard time trying to figure out how do we get this done without extending being here all night. But I am interested in seeing the findings that Director Fobb, I feel that she's the only one that really, I believe that she should be on that committee. If she's finding all these findings, I think putting her on that committee would be ideal. That's all I have.
Ms. Scales, would you like to respond to any of those items?
So starting from the bottom, working your way up, waste management is an ACH, you never see a check for that, so you won't have one come in the packet. It's very stated on the fourth column over, you'll notice when it says ACH, you don't see any check in your packet for that. It's also why you don't see a check in your packet for Pedernales Falls, Chapter Communications, amongst whatever other ACHs are in there. Regarding the Triton checks, we've already voided those. They do show up as voided on your packet. We did catch those. In addition to that, the reason you're seeing the check for $40,000 that you're claiming as a duplicate is because even though we cut it after your meeting, we still have to show it as record on your check register. So yes, it was cut, and yes, it was not on your last one, but because you approved it at your last meeting, it's still going to show up for your financial sake. So that's why it's on here. It's not a duplicate check. It's the one and only check that was cut for that. It was approved as an additional item to your financials last month. So it's not a duplicate check. It's the check that was issued after the approval of the board's consensus to approve HERB's agenda item to pay them.
Actually, it is a duplicate check. It has a new check number from it has a check number, and it was paid on February 7th. If it was truly paid in the January meeting, it would have a date of January, I think the meeting was on the 17th, 18th, 19th?
Michelle, can you double check that?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
And McKinsey, it also, at the end of last meeting, when Priscilla added this one at the final hour, I asked for a rerun of the check register because it needs to reflect in the January check register, not the February, because she added it into the checks in January.
I think part of the issue then is Herb resubmitted the invoice again this month to Avid Bill.
Okay, so the invoice for $40,115, it was invoice number 01052023 in the amount of $40,115. That invoice that came in was dated January the 5th, but it was not paid until 2/7, which was check number 6826, which is on the register for this month. The only other invoices that have been in the system for Westar, there was one for $62.50 that went back to November. There was another one for $34,996.50 that goes back to November, as well as another one for $9,500. And those were three different, well, the $9,500 went back to 2021.
Thank you, Michelle.
Mhm.
Okay, so we've discussed, do we have a motion?
To pay the bills and invoices? Is that what you're looking for?
Well, we do have to pay our bills and invoices tonight, so yes.
I have a question for Director Pham. Can I have some more time? It's a quick question.
This is what we get into now. Now,
No.
we're gonna talk about this. We gotta pay our bills.
Even if they're wrong?
Well,
No, but
not to interrupt, but Honor, you and I had this discussion during the committee meeting about how to handle this particular specific instance. And part of that, we discussed the best way to do it would be, and I do have a response prepared for Linda, I just have not completed it. I've had a lot of other things going on as well. However, we can't, Infomart can't answer for Sage. I can't answer for Gray, and I can't answer for McGinnis. And a lot of the issues in the past, when sent in, were always being sent directly to the bookkeeper, and we can't answer for them. We can't answer as to why they might have an error on their invoice. We can't blame them in the middle because we're gonna get things misconstrued, things aren't gonna be directly answered correctly, and you might have follow-up questions. So we had this discussion during the committee meeting this past Monday, and we all kind of determined collectively that the best way to handle that, which is exactly what Director Fobb has already done, at least with me, is going directly to the committees, approving your bills and invoices as is, but for things, of course, as long as it's not an exorbitant amount of money, understandably so, if it wasn't $40,000, you would withhold that. However, the small things like the small errors she's notated on Sage's invoice, those are things that she could send directly to the committee. Now, the problem is there does need to be a response, and I think you guys all covered that in your last month's meeting about how you are obligated to respond. So we agreed as the committee collectively to propose that as an option to, if you have questions, doing that. Now, while the discussion can't be had by the committee of the corrections made or whatever, then we would put the onus on whatever contractor it was to say, hey, committee, FYI, these were brought to my attention, not stating who, here are your corrections. That's all it has to be as far as notifying the Bills and Invoices Committee of the credits they should see or the refunds they should see. That way there's no cross communications of them discussing what the errors were that were brought up. It's strictly then tracking to make sure that those credits and refunds do come through.
That could all be avoided by putting Director Fobb on that committee.
I'm sorry, that's not what we're talking about right now.
We're talking about the bills and invoices. And
Yes,
the
we're not
length.
talking about committee assignments. We're
Well,
talking about the
no,
bills and invoices.
I know, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, to avoid this whole long, lengthy discussion in time, sitting here asking questions and like you say, deliberate and talk about it. If Director Fobb was on that particular committee, I think would eliminate the time spent here. I think it would.
She would still have to go to the contractors though.
Oh, she would, prior to the meeting. She would,
Okay.
prior to the meeting.
I'm
The committee.
So is there
still looking for a
motion?
motion.
There is no motion.
Just a reminder, the president has the right to make a motion if nobody else offers one under your rules.
Would you like me to make a motion that everybody can get paid?
There's a modified amount, so maybe you should let Michelle go through the financials and then make your motion based off
Please.
of the modified amount.
Please.
Can I make one thing on the end of all this, is why can't we let them speak before you speak so that some of it can be cleared up and we wouldn't be wasting all this time? And then if
I
there
don't
are
think
still
deliberation
problems.
is a waste of time.
Well, you
Okay,
can talk.
all right, let's hear from
Michelle, if you're ready to go ahead and give the report. You are on 100 volume.
Okay. Good evening. I will be presenting the January 23 financial report for WTC1. On page 5 of 26 of the financial, the total revenue for the month was $715,594, which is under budget by $92,330. Year-to-date revenue is $2,961,791, which is under budget by 167 approximately thousand. Administrative expenditures on page 6. We're under budget for the month of January by $23,239. Year-to-date total was $122,039, which is under budget by $73,871. If you turn to page 7, the operating and maintenance January expenditures are over budget by $10,351, which is year-to-date total of $1,165,540, which is under budget by approximately $54,289. On page, bear with me here just a moment. On page 9, your capital projects outlay for January, the total invoice was $750, and that was for your 11609 Hatch wastewater lift station rehab. The year-to-date total is $36,018. Total expenditures for the month of January was $347,068. Year-to-date is $1,424,295. The total year-to-date is under budget by $354,586. If you turn to page 12 of your package, the total district received $396,050 from Williamson County Tax Office, as well as $155,511 from Travis County this month. Going into page 13, which is your cash balance report. Total operating funds is $4,381,829.14. Total debt service funds will be $332,900.73 for a total district funds of $4,714,729.87. We are looking to get a motion on your payment register. There were some errors on there. We have voided some additional checks from since the B&I meeting. The total expenditures for the manager's account was $50,946.01. The total amount for the operating account, turn to page 22 of 26, was $318,721.26. You will notice in your package that there were several checks that were voided. The total amount that we were looking to pay out was a total of $369,667.27. And I do realize that the board does have some issues that they would like to address before all of the checks are released, but we do need to have a motion on the ones that we can. We are also asking on page 24 to transfer $115,000 from your taxable operating account, which is in C-Road, and going to Kansas Bank that ends in 9370 for $115,000. We are asking for a motion to transfer $6,000 from the taxable operating account to the Kansas manager's account. And last but not least, out of the Text pool tax account, we need to transfer $596,928.11. Again, I apologize, that is $596,928.11 from the text pool tax account to the text pool operating account. And we also need to transfer $46,087.94 from the text pool tax account going to the text pool debt service account. And that concludes my report, unless anyone has any questions. Thank you, Megan.
So at this point, Megan, if y'all would like to hear any of the additional ones that I did not cover, Director Fogg, and withhold any of those checks, you can, but we'll need to jot down the numbers so we can make sure you approve the correct amount for the payment register.
Okay.
Unless you want to approve as is and do committee, or not committee, have her contact.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna make a motion to approve the check register in the amount of $369,667.26.
7 cents.
27 cents. Do I have a second?
I will second that.
Okay. Is there anything you'd like to say, Director Jones?
No, well, actually I do. I'll say that I believe that our contractors, if they were overpaid, will pay us back. I just think it's really important that everybody's paid. We've had a few times and they've been overpaid before, it all comes back.
Director Avila.
I agree. We want to stop business flowing, and I'm not okay stopping any payment. We've got to keep business flowing. However, if there's an issue that any director brings up, each contractor has a duty to respond and correct the issue. And I'm sorry, a month is a long time to not answer a director. I think it needs to be corrected. The money needs to be refunded immediately upon request. I think it's just fair to say that.
Okay, Director Bud?
Yeah, I don't even know where to begin to address this because I would literally have to go back 18 months to get all the corrections corrected. It goes back that far. Continuing to approve the entire check register, knowing there's errors in it, seems irresponsible. I am not willing to do that. I am willing to pull the checks that are in question, which there are 7 of them, and let the rest go. That I would do. But the 7 checks with errors, no. The errors need to be corrected and they need to resubmit. Because there is no accountability for the credits. That's the problem. There's no way for the Bills and Invoice Committee to know what credits should be issued because that information isn't flowing back. So if you're willing to pull the checks that have problems, then let the contractor resubmit, answer the questions and resubmit, then they can be paid. And until that happens, I won't approve a check knowing that it's in error and hoping that the contractor will correct, because history has demonstrated that doesn't happen.
Okay, Director Flores.
Yeah, Director Bob touched on the accountability. How do we hold the contractors accountable that we receive those credits? Who's going to check to make sure that those credits do come back is a concern of mine. Is it the Bills and Invoice Committee that's going to take that on? That's just one of my concerns, and I don't know what the answer is. I think that they do need to address Director Fobb's concerns in a timely manner, because I'm having trouble getting, I just think that should be in a very timely manner, not 2-3 weeks to get a response, but, you know, within a couple days, they should be able to answer Director Fox's questions. If they even, you know, I believe, are you having trouble getting answers from contractors, Director Fox?
Yeah, I don't get answers.
So that's a concern of mine, that she's not getting the answers from the contractors.
I would like to hear from Mackenzie, if there are certain checks that at least we got, you know, to disclose the information that we can agree these are incorrect. And I would like to see the amounts that are incorrect. If there are any that we can spot and say, you know, we have this check, it's totally incorrect, so at least we have a record of it. And
A lot
we
of
know.
them are the ones that we pointed out on Sage needing clarified information to cover them when we were going through their checks during the Bills and Invoices Committee meeting. When Beth was taking notes about the items we were all notating of the inconsistencies and how we felt like it just wasn't flowing and we needed more information to understand it, the majority of what she's pointing out is from what we all discussed. And Beth, I don't know, did you send that to them? I think you did, right?
And you guys responded, correct?
Us?
Yes.
Yeah. I know we've gotten a lot of corrected invoices, but they all came in over the last 2 days, and we just, being that having the meeting tonight, have not had time to go through them to verify if the ones that they've sent would provide the additional.
Now, have they
information.
responded to Linda's concern?
No, they've responded to what we discussed in the committee meeting directly from Beth,
Gotcha.
sending them. I don't know any communications between the two of them.
So shouldn't those be held to next month, since it came in before the time that they're supposed to come in?
After the.
It came in after?
They were corrections to invoices we've already received. The amount of the invoice and the invoice number did not change.
Okay.
But there's a
We didn't-
duplicate invoice
We didn't even
in
hear
those.
about corrections until 24 hours ago, so.
Which we had the meeting on Monday.
No, you guys answered it within 3 hours
Correct.
of the phone call, so.
So what I thought I heard was that there were some issues with the Sage Management building that y'all looked over in the committee, and you asked Sage about them and they responded to you, and they, what were those concerns, is kind of what I'm wondering. What is it that brought up a question? And I would just want to make sure if it's the same thing that Director Bob has found.
As far as we know, we address all of these issues at committee level. That information was addressed to the contractor, and the contractor came back and answered those questions. Now, I don't know if they're the same that she is claiming or requesting. That we don't know. That would have to be between her and the contractors to discuss.
And I feel I should point out that one of the provisions of Director Cobb's censure is that contractors are under no obligation to respond to her.
She can send them to y'all, and y'all can send them to us, no problem. We have no problem answering anything, we're not hiding anything.
Then I can't get the answer back. You understand why, right?
But you do get the answers back.
No, I don't get the answer back from them. I want the answer from them.
But if I send it to you,
You can't, it'd be
Okay.
a quorum.
Okay, we have a motion on the table. Can we call the vote on that motion, Mr. Evans, please?
Director Jones,
repeat it.
the motion was to approve the check register.
Yes.
Director Avila,
Yes.
Director Duda,
Yes.
Director Fox,
No.
Director Floyd.
No.
Okay. We already did agenda item 6, so let's move on to agenda item 7, annual review of investment policy. Whose is this?
I'm sorry, it was number
7.
Actually, Madam President, we're going to be presenting some just this upcoming for next month. You're going to have, and you always have an annual obligation to review your investment policy. You all do have one in place, but you do have to review it each year. So next month in your package, you'll have a resolution to basically note for official record that you've reviewed it. You have to do that by resolution under the statute. Can't just read it into the minutes. I believe you all have access to the investment policy and expose it to your files. So I encourage you to review it between now and then. If you'll have questions or any kind of revisions you want to make to the policy between now and next month, you need to do that review between now and then. That's all I have now.
Okay, thank you. Agenda item 8, district audit for fiscal year 2022 and filing of same with required agencies.
I don't think it's done yet.
No,
They were still getting information from the bookkeepers, as far as I know, they were still requesting stuff just this past week.
It's Maxwell, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, so Maxwell's communicated that they're not going to get,
Okay.
we're going to leave it on there as a placeholder until it is presented.
Okay. Agenda item 9, deed restriction enforcement services. A, request for proposals. Ms. Scales, could you just update the board on where we are?
The RFP will likely go out, I believe, first thing tomorrow. We put a submittal date on it and did the finishing touches with her today as far as what we needed. The submittal date we discussed would be the 6th, so from tomorrow they'll have until the 6th to respond. There's not going to be any sort of pre-bid meetings or anything like that. They will have them mailed to the Summit office. We're not going to do any online or digital collection of that. And that's pretty much all we have. We didn't have anything additional. It's completed.
Still the 6th, Mackenzie?
Yes, correct. The 6th of March, sorry, I should be more specific.
Oh, good, thank you, ma'am.
Mackenzie, can I get a copy of that?
I'll send it to you tomorrow after I send it out. We'll also obviously post it to the website.
Okay, and then B, request for qualifications for special counsel. We are going to need to engage special counsel, which we've discussed in the past, to negotiate the contract with whomever we select for deed restriction enforcement. I will actually make a motion to allow the deed restriction committee to seek out special counsel for that specific purpose.
We'll second it.
Okay, discussion. Dr. Jones, do you have anything?
No, I'm glad that we're going to do that. I think it's good.
Director Avila,
Nothing.
Director Cobb.
I have a lot of things. I don't understand why we need a special counsel to negotiate a contract when we have a attorney for the district that can do that. What would be the purpose of hiring a special counsel?
Because Mr. Evans has indicated that he doesn't want to be involved in anything related to the deed restriction contract.
Is that an option for the attorney to opt out of serving the district?
Absolutely is, as you're fully aware. I've advised this board before you even engaged me in Lockridge of a previous conflict, and this board signed a waiver, Sage signed a waiver, but I also informed you that I would be recusing myself, and the firm would be recused in toto from participating in those activities. I've told you this multiple times.
And what if the
That's all I have to say
selected,
about that, Ms. Bob.
point of order, parliamentarian, please, don't interrupt me. What if the winning bid is not Sage Management? Then there would be no conflict. If Sage Management is not the selected vendor, then McGinnis Lockridge has no conflict. And if they don't want to participate in deed enforcement services, they have a plethora of billing for deed enforcement services. It's not stopping them from engaging in that activity. If they don't want to negotiate a contract with a deed enforcement contractor, whoever the winning bidder is, then there's a shortcoming in the legal services that we're receiving.
The board would like to hire different deed restriction enforcement services other than Sage. I guess would be happy to re-engage on that particular matter. The conflict is only specific to the district and Sage Management. How y'all get to that place is up to y'all to decide.
So then we wouldn't need a special counsel until after the bidding process and the winning bidder is selected. So we don't need a special counsel at this point.
Well, but if we get to the point where we're deciding on a contractor, and if it is Sage, and then we don't have special counsel already in the works, then we have to go out and do that. We have to wait for a board meeting, we have to get approval, then we have to go find special counsel, and we're putting off writing the contract for however long that takes.
That will work itself out because Sage's contract requires a 90-day notice of termination. So even if we selected somebody other than Sage, we still have to give them 90 days. If we gave them their notice tonight, you could be ready to hire by
No.
April.
I'm saying if we choose Sage after the selection process, then we need special counsel in order to work on their contract.
That's when you would hire a special counsel.
Yes, and so then if we wait until that point to even search for somebody, then we are putting off writing the contract for yet another month or so.
Well, actually, that's not really exactly true. If the bid closes in March and then we interview the candidates and select the winning person in March, you could go out for a special counsel. If Sage was the selected contractor, then in March you could hire a special counsel that would negotiate a contract that they present to us, and then it would be effective in April, which is our next board meeting, and that would give them 90 days from today notice of termination in case it wasn't them. We'd be all lined up to go in April.
Okay, Director Flores, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, so McGinnis will not do it if Sage Management is the deed enforcement. Are we allowed, can we, Zach, Mr. Evans, can we, I guess the process is to open it up to everybody. We can't just say, well, we already gave Sage a chance, we're not going to re-engage with Sage Management, so we can't just eliminate them now and say we're going to go with somebody new. We have to give them an opportunity, correct? To make it fair and even for everybody?
You are going to issue an RFP and they have a right to respond.
They have a right to respond, yeah, okay. Because if it was, I was thinking if we said, okay, Sage already had an opportunity to work for the district, we want to try somebody else, that would eliminate the conflict of interest and McGinnis would be able to handle the whole process, but it's not, it can't work that way, so. Just questions I have, but no, I don't have any more questions.
I'd like to speak. You understood this way before Zach was hired, all of this. And I feel like it's just creating more chaos right now. But I will say that if we had to hire another lawyer just for this, it's going to cost just the same and maybe even less because it's only going to be for deeds. So we may have a chance to go out and get someone that we're paying a whole lot less just for the deed part.
Oh, a lawyer that does all the deed restriction
No,
activity?
no.
Oh, just the
No,
contract
just the
negotiation?
contract.
Just the
Yeah, that's what I
contractor.
thought. So it doesn't say the same.
How do you know that? You don't know that.
Okay.
But to fight about it, and
Okay.
just, I think it's wrong. I think that we all understood how this was going to work. And to try to push someone out because of that is wrong. That's
Okay.
my 2 cents.
Okay, we have a motion on the table and a second. Will you call the vote, please?
Director Flores,
Can you repeat the motion, Mr. Evans?
it is to allow the DRC to seek qualifications for deed restriction enforcement services, or excuse me, seek proposals. I'll come back to you. Director Jones,
Yes.
Director Avila.
Repeat the motion again, please.
It is to allow the DRC to seek proposals for deed restriction enforcement services.
For special counsel.
I'm sorry, special counsel for deed
Yes.
restriction. Thank you.
When? Like effect immediately if the motion is passed, or we're gonna put a date on this?
So that would be up to the DRC to get together, if y'all, I don't know where you are at in the process, as far as putting the proposal together. But what I would presume would happen would be that y'all would get together after this meeting, finalize the RFP, I think. Yeah. Okay, so that's all
All the
done.
RFP work is done.
That's all done. So all you really need to do is work in concert with Gray and Infomart to publish the notice of the RFP. And then ostensibly, you have a response deadline, a week before your next board meeting, give or take, to give people time to submit their proposals. You gotta meet the publication requirements. I always forget, I think it's 14 days prior to the opening date or something like that. And then at the next meeting, ostensibly, y'all would engage whoever shows up. You have, of course, the real possibility that you don't get any proposals. I keep saying proposals. You don't get any submissions, so to speak.
So, but were you asking specifically about how we were going to handle the
The site
special
council,
counsel?
like, are we gonna, because the motion is about hiring special counsel.
Special counsel, yeah.
Is that gonna,
I'm sorry, Mr. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah.
I'm conflating the de-restriction enforcement services hiring process and the special counsel. So let me back up. The RFQ process, you can hire professionals under statute, and that includes architects, attorneys, a handful of other professional services, accountants. You can hire them through RFQ, but nothing states that you have to go through the same publication requirements that you do for RFPs. Okay, so non-professional services basically are RFPs for most intents and purposes. RFQs is for professional services. So the committee, like I said, what I would do is you put together a scope of services for the would-be legal special counsel. You send that out to attorneys that y'all want to contact, law firms you want to contact, and then wait for submissions. So I'm sorry, I was getting those two mixed up, and I think I was not speaking clearly.
all right, that's clear.
Okay,
So how do you vote?
Yeah, I actually forgot where we're at.
So-
Ms. Jones, we were yes.
you are yes.
I would go yes.
Mr. Ogley, yes, okay. Ms. Duda,
Yes.
Ms. Fobb,
No.
Mr. Flores.
Yes.
Ayes have it.
Okay. We already did agenda item 10, which is the engineer's report. Agenda item 11, general manager's report.
If you go to the general manager's report, you scroll down to the very last page, page 17. Water accountability is at 84%. We're staying around the same number. We did chat with Herb a little during the infrastructure committee meeting on any additional options to do. And as of right now, he said if you're staying stagnant at that point, he's not as concerned. And he believes that if it is a leak, it will eventually come up at some point in time. It's just not surfacing itself, and that was exactly what he said during the infrastructure committee meeting. We have 109 delinquent letters mailed, 58 tags hung, and then no disconnects were done before the executive summary was left. Do you know how many disconnects we had? We had 9. 9 total disconnects.
How many delinquents did you say?
109.
This one says 85.
My report. You might be looking at last month. This is, does the date say 2/15? This is in the Google Drive, so, yeah, you might be in the month prior.
118.
Yeah, January 18th. Yep. Parks and ponds and common area cleanup will begin on June 20th of next week. We've also been working in conjunction with Waste Management to get the dumpster out here and delivered. It will be, we have switched the staging area just to be in a more closed off location and have less access to people wanting to put additional items into it. It'll be over in Little Elm Pond. The dumpster will be right there at the curb. They will set up the chipper to chip directly into it. The pond itself will be a staging area for the debris, and as it's delivered, they'll already have somebody there to chip into that dumpster. We don't foresee anything happening or sitting there for a long period of time. Everything will be kind of consistently flowing. As far as signage goes, we did discuss this last week. We did order temporarily park closure signs for several parks. Those, I believe, will be ready tomorrow. If they weren't ready at the end of today, we'll get those distributed and put in the parks that were discussed to be closed due to extremely hazardous limbs and stuff and such, and those will be removed as the parks are cleaned. In addition to that, we have sent out the landscape RFP and then since put it on hold, given we weren't wanting to engage in an RFP for landscape services during the middle of a storm cleanup. We did re-communicate that out to everybody that I sent out the proposal to or that had commented and reached out to me. I think we only ended up having one person show up here that I did not send the RFP to myself, and we got their information to update them the next time. We did have it posted to the two websites as well, but I believe this person was directed to us by you, Director Bob. So we have them down, we'll send them out with the rest of them when we do reschedule the submittal date and the pre-bid meeting. Hopefully after all of our storm cleanup is completed, so when we do our walk, we're looking at parks that don't need to be heavily cleaned up. During the recent storm, the water here was shut off upon it turning back on. I'm sure if you walk by the kitchen, you can see it. There is a big hole in the kitchen. We had a plumber come out about 30 minutes after the water was cut back on. They noticed a small bubble in the ceiling. They turned it back off, went back up, and apparently it was a loose half-inch connector point, and that's where the leak was coming from. There was no pipe breakage or anything of the sort. The plumber did correct the problem the same day, and we reached out to the contractor to find out how much it would be to patch the roof right there. Last but not least, the mobile sign has been put out at Anderson Mill West, and we'll move it to Lakeline next week, so that way we're distributing it at both locations. And as far as any other updates go, I don't have any news on the electronic meters. The Houston crew is supposed to be putting some dates together when they'll be coming out for the Austin districts, and I believe they said at the end of March is when we'll start installing the endpoints that you already have in storage to the meters that are already updated.
Thank you.
That concludes my executive summary.
Okay, thank you.
Mackenzie, I have a question. So the signs aren't out yet. Today I went by the park and the school has a running club. So they go over to the park and they run laps around. Is there somehow someone can contact the school and let them know that?
Yeah, we can reach out to them tomorrow.
Just because I don't want those kids to get.
The one by Anderson Mill?
Anderson Mill,
Yes, will you do that tomorrow? Just reach out to the one that's closed temporarily? Oh, you did put signs.
Yeah, there's signs
They're
up,
just
but,
not-
yeah, if
you
you
don't-
reach out to the principal and let them know it's hazardous.
Absolutely.
Would hate for a little kid to get
We have
impaled.
also put a ton of information on the district's website. If y'all haven't seen it, we've been updating it as much as we can. We've put together Google Forms for the volunteer signups and the people who need assistance. We've also gotten waivers of liability to hand out when we do have people signing up. So we're actively working on all of that and keeping things as up to date as possible. Waste Management has also gone above and beyond and not charged the district and sent out 4 trucks last week and the week before. It did delay some pickups, but they have been picking up a lot of brush in and throughout the district with these additional trucks. As of this week, they only did 2 trucks. They realized it was slowing the process down more than it was actually helping the actual trash and recycling collection. But they have gone above and beyond with just trying to collect whatever they can. And we had a coordination call with them yesterday just to touch base and set the track for moving forward with getting the dumpster here.
I have a request for you, Mackenzie. Can you please send me a copy of the proposal requirements you used to hire Sunscape to do the brush cleanup in the district? Include all the proposals that you received.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. That's good.
Okay, agenda item 12, rules of order.
Should be in the director's, or excuse me, the board packet under McGinnis, Madam President.
Okay.
That folder's empty.
Should be.
I have an agenda item 12 in the board packet that covers it.
I was checking out.
Yeah, I'm not saying that there's not an agenda, I'm saying that we did, I thought, upload the red line of the proposed.
I uploaded it for you in agenda item number 12, rules of order. Your proposed changes are there.
I don't know how to access the files you're speaking of,
Oh.
agenda item, all I have is my meeting.
Okay.
I've got a regular board meeting, again, it's Gray Engineering, Information, et cetera. They're not organized by agenda items.
Yeah, that's one I put up there, and I don't open mine up to Herb and all the contractors, and you are out there with a personal email address and a McGinnis address, so I don't pick you either. I open those to the board.
Okay.
So but let me assure you that your red line is out there. It is the third item in agenda item number 12, rules of order. It is Zach Evans' suggestions for what to modify on those rules of order. This is, can I go forward since I'm already speaking?
Actually, I would first like Mr. Evans to just go over the changes, if you would, please.
Yes, give me just a second.
Okay.
Stand by.
I can share this folder with you, Zach. Do I use your personal
No,
email address or
no,
your
thank
McGinnis
you,
one?
I've got it. Alrighty.
I picked your McGinnis one.
So, if the directors do have that document, the most substantive revisions start at page 5. There was concern amongst the board about the board designee provision. So the previous section 2.4 was deleted entirely. Thus, and any references there to, any references to the board designee were eliminated as well. Additionally, we were asked to clarify the relationship, if you will, between the board president and the parliamentarian. And so the way it was revised was to stipulate one, again, to remove the provision relating to the board designee, but also to indicate that if the director feels like a rule is being violated, that they need to ask to be recognized by the president and raise their point of order. At that point, the president may, but is not obligated to consult with the general counsel regarding the point of order and the determination whether the rules of order, a violation of the rules has, interrupted myself, determine whether or not a violation of the rules of order has occurred. And further stipulates the president shall state her or his determination, and then that determination may only be overruled by a majority of the vote, majority vote of the entire board, which is pretty standard throughout the rules as far as majority vote carrying the day. And those are the substantive revisions. Ms. Fobb submitted some lengthy comments yesterday. Director Dudo, I don't think you had any revisions, am I mistaken? Or at least none you sent out. Okay,
I did
making
not
sure didn't
have
miss
any
anything.
revisions.
That's the substance, Madam President.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
Yes.
Okay.
I motion that a subcommittee consisting of Hanoi, Avila, and myself update the rules of order to be conducive to an efficient and effectively run meeting.
Do we have a second?
State, can you state again the motion?
I move that a subcommittee consisting of you and me update the rules of order to be conducive to an efficient and effectively run meeting.
I'll second that.
Okay. Discussion, Director Flores.
No?
Director Cobb.
Thank you. Last month, in a 3-2 vote, the board voted on a subcommittee comprised of Megan and myself to work out the details for the district's rules of order. No meeting took place. Instead, at Megan's request, Zach Evans modified the rules to remove the board designee, as discussed, and offered a procedural motion to describe the role of parliamentarian. The fundamental principles of parliamentary rules is to assist the members of an assembly to conduct the business of the organization effectively, efficiently, and with fairness while protecting the democratic process. The parliamentarian is a procedural advisor before and during meetings. They do not participate in discussion, but may advise a member on how to make a motion or, when asked, assist the chair in determining if a procedural violation has occurred. That is the role of the parliamentarian. I have placed Zach's modifications on the board packet along with what I put forward last month that led to the vote to meet and discuss the changes presented. Because that meeting did not take place and the charge put forward by the board vote which was not met, I'd like to make that motion that I just did, that you and I work on this. And because I went back and listened to the meeting as Megan suggested, and there was a request to define the role of the parliamentarian. What's in here, the motion, the point of order motion is not the role of the parliamentarian. That doesn't describe that role. That's a procedural motion, and there are 4 others that I would like added further down in this rules of order. These are the bylaws of how we operate. I would like them to reflect how we would operate efficiently. And I don't think that that has been accomplished. So, Hanoi, if you're willing, I'd like to work with you on that and get these done and knocked out once and for all.
Madam President, I interject briefly.
Yes.
I find Ms. Fobb's comment that Director Dudo directed me to revise the rules to be completely mendacious, and it's not accurate. So I want the board to know that what she said about Director Dudo telling me how to revise the minutes, or excuse me, the rules of order, is completely inaccurate. That's all I have to say.
I did put the email communication in the board packet so you could see how that went. And Zach, I sent you comments today, not yesterday.
Oh, thank you. You got them to me today. That's
Today.
helpful.
Yeah, so.
I just got them from you the day before, so.
So the email exchange regarding how we were going to handle the changes happened on January 30th. And I made my suggestion on how we should handle that. And Director Fobb didn't respond for 2 weeks. So we proceeded because we received no response from her. And so Mr. Evans made some proposed changes. I commented on them. Director Fobb commented on them at 2:30 today. So the suggestion that, whatever it is you're suggesting, you could have responded to the email 2 weeks ago. You chose not to. You chose to bring it to the board instead to try to suggest that I'm doing something wrong or ignoring a board.
Point of order, Megan, that's
No.
not it at all.
That is, you could have answered
Misleading.
2 weeks ago, and you didn't.
I was giving him a chance to come up with something.
And he did, and you responded today at
He
2:30.
sent me his changes yesterday. Yesterday.
They
I've been
came-
looking at bills and
no,
invoices.
They came in Monday afternoon, or Monday at the end of the day. Regardless, The suggestion that we didn't adhere to the board's directive is also false. The board did not direct us to make wholesale changes to the rules of order. They did not direct us to discuss further the changes that you originally brought to the board last month. That motion failed, and then you yourself, at minute 25 and 10 seconds, you can listen, you yourself say, I am fine tabling all of my proposed changes, but I think we could handle the parliamentarian, the president being as parliamentarian. So then that resulted in a 10-minute long conversation about specifically the role of the parliamentarian versus the role of the president, mostly led by you, Director Avila. And Mr. Evans said, I think we can deal with this by addressing two things. I just need a directive from the board. You can go listen to the meeting. Excuse me, Director Fab, I'm speaking.
I'm listening.
So the directive was for the committee to work on those changes, not all the changes you brought to the board last month. So I just want to be clear that there was no ignoring of the board's directive going on here. So now that that's clarified.
What was that motion that was set forth?
I don't have the motion in front of me. The motion was to.
Because I thought I made the motion for you to work with
Yes.
Director Pham.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Director Pham, did you meet with?
Early February, I sent dates available, and I was willing to meet. I think there were like 15 dates on there.
Yes.
And you didn't think that was necessary?
That's correct.
So-
Because this was not a complicated change that required a meeting.
Well, that was what the vote was, so.
No, that was not the vote.
Okay.
Okay. Director Avila, did you have anything you wanted to say?
I mean, I think, looking at the reviews that the attorney has done, I can kind of see accomplishing in big part what we've decided at our last meeting. Was it the last meeting, right? Yep. You know, the whole 2.4D is out, so that's clear. And then .1 basically gives the power that we've talked about, or the responsibility, to the president. So are there any other things that we talked about last meeting that, and I know you've recommended some changes as well, but what are those recommended changes? Because to me, it really captures what we've talked about last meeting. So it was sort of accomplished. I just kind of want to make sure from your side, since y'all two didn't meet, if there's any missing elements there.
Yes, there are.
Okay.
My original submission last month that required or necessitated a meeting to hash out had several changes on them. They were not voted out. They were going to be up for discussion. You'll see that. I'm not going to go over them all with you tonight because I already did, but it's the first item in that folder, LRF copy. That's how it starts. Again, Zach's offering does not describe the role of the parliamentarian. The point of order is a procedural motion. It is not what a parliamentarian does. Points of order are done by members of the board, not by the parliamentarian. So he didn't describe the role of the parliamentarian, which is what you asked for in the meeting last month. That is not descriptive here. I have read you a description of the parliamentarian's role that would be better fit inserted in there. But if we're going to make changes to the rules of order, we should do them all with one revision and just get it done, rather than piecemealing it and bringing it back on the agenda repeatedly until everything is accomplished. And there are more things that need to be I believe, put in here, other points of order that need to be addressed so that we can move more efficiently through these meetings. And they would take less time. Meetings would take less time.
So would you agree to accept the motion as is, and then that you and I can actually meet and address those other points and bring them up to the next meeting for a vote?
I don't want to approve what Zach set forward because I don't think a procedural motion point of order describes the role of a parliamentarian. So that's not sufficient for me. But his role is clearly described as a procedural advisor before and during meetings that does not participate in discussion but may advise a member on how to make a motion or, when asked, assist the chair in determining if a procedural violation has occurred. That's what I believe the role of the parliamentarian should be, and that is what I would like to work on. In addition to the...
Madam President, may I read what I drafted for everybody's enlightenment? Because,
Yes, please.
again, Ms. Fobbs being mendacious, I think very intentionally about what this says, and she's misrepresenting the words that are in front of this board. So I will read aloud. Section 41C, as revised, reads: the district's general counsel shall serve as the board's parliamentarian. If a director believes another director is violating a rule of order, the previous shall ask and then wait to be recognized by the president and raise his or her point of order. The president may, but is not obligated to consult with the district's general counsel regarding the point of order and whether a violation of the rules of order has occurred. The president shall then state his or her determination on the point of order raised. The president's determination may be overturned only by a majority vote of the entire board. So I do take exception to Ms. Fobbs' inaccurate description of what I've drafted. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Does that describe the role of a parliamentarian to you? Because that's what we asked for.
I mean, to me, it's pretty broad. It doesn't really specify the role of a parliamentarian.
I would also posit that you don't have to have a parliamentarian. You are the only one, other than one other district I represent, that even has this problem. So, as I've said, and numerous times, 3 of y'all can make decisions about how you conduct your meetings if you wish, and just cut your general counsel out completely of determining whether or not a procedural rule has been violated or not. You are all adults. You know how to conduct yourselves professionally. If you want to do that, you don't have to involve your general counsel in these decisions whatsoever. And I'd be happy, more than happy, to not be involved.
Can I say something?
Yes.
I'm really struggling with this because the reason why you're censored is because of some of the problems that we're having with this. And so I don't understand how you think that you can put yourself on a committee when we haven't even gotten through 6 months yet of being able to follow some of this. So if you want to do this with someone that is not censored right now, I think I would understand it a little bit better. But right now I have to tell you that this is something that we worked really hard on last year. Really hard. And I think there's more motives into this than what you're seeing. And I feel bad for you because I think you're being thrown to the wolves right now. For all of us. Doesn't matter who. But I just think that you're being put in a really bad spot because you don't understand it all yet. That's my only 2 cents.
I mean,
You can laugh at me all you want, but you know I'm right.
Point of order.
Okay. We have a motion on the table. All in favor of the motion, raise your hand.
I'm gonna raise my hand.
Okay, all opposed? Okay. All right. Agenda item 13, rate order, and I would like to point out that we have 10 minutes left with our attorney. So,
I confess, Madam President, I don't recall whose agenda item this was, or
I think it's a standing item.
No, it was mine.
Okay.
Sorry,
Just to call it.
Was yours or David?
It's mine. I'm waiting for her to give me the floor.
go ahead.
Thank you. Recently, the ambiguity in the rate order has come to my attention, and I have several concerns about the execution of the information contained within it. Page 4 and 5 covers security deposits per connection that is collected on accounts. The purpose of a security deposit is to mitigate risk. The security deposit for residential property owners is $200 and residential renters is $500, which in my opinion is too high from a risk aversion perspective and should be more in line with the residential owner's deposit because the risk is for the payment of water, and I've seen no evidence to suggest that property ownership has any bearing on who pays their water bill. There is no conclusive data to demonstrate that a residential renter skips out on their bill more often than a residential property owner. At the bottom of page 5, there is language that an additional security deposit equal to the applicable owner or renter deposit described on page 4 shall be required for any account that has been disconnected for non-payment. The language is singular and not plural, yet I'm seeing accounts that are being charged a deposit each time they are disconnected and have amassed deposits in amounts far greater than their average water bill, effectively being able to cover their future water use for 10 months or longer. That's not a risk aversion collection, that's a punitive action. I've also learned that the additional security deposit is being demanded upfront in order to get water reconnected, although the rate order clearly states that the additional security deposit will be included in the first billing following a reconnection of service. On page 13 of the manager's report are 11 accounts that are 90 days past due and 50 accounts that are 120 days past due. I've asked to see the account history on those specific accounts so that I can see how the current rate order has been applied to these specific delinquent accounts. I haven't received that information yet from Mackenzie or Stephanie. I asked a few days ago. I don't have it yet, so I can't say for sure what kind of fees they've racked up on their accounts or how many times they've been disconnected, how many times they've paid a security deposit. But the rate order is not clear. I read it as one singular additional security deposit required if you get disconnected, and that security deposit will be added to your next water bill. I've had 2 people in this district contact me, and they were forced to pay that additional security deposit before their water was reconnected. So that's false. That can't happen. You can't do that. I need another 3 minutes, please. Thank you. I've modified the rate order in the board packet, and I did. A residential property owner has a $200 deposit, and I've modified the residential renter to $300, assuming that there is some evidence out there to suggest that renters pay their bills less frequently than property owners. If I don't find that to be the case, my suggestion is going to be that the deposits remain the same. So that you'll see those changes on there. And Mackenzie, I wanted to know if 1 inch, 1.5 inch, and 2 inch meters are used on residential properties.
I
can get you a list, I don't think you have any on your notes.
Okay, because,
It doesn't stop them from requesting it.
okay, because there are deposits for those size of,
Standard
yeah.
in all rate orders.
We may want to look at that closer. So I want the rate order to reflect one additional security deposit, even if they've been disconnected multiple times, because we're trying to avoid the risk of them not paying. And whatever is reasonable for risk aversion, 2 times the amount, 3 times the amount, whatever that number is going to be, that needs to be recorded in here. And also, I would ask that Infomark no longer require people to pay additional security deposits before you reconnect their water. It needs to be added to their next bill.
It's on their delinquent letter, so that's why it was done that way. It was also a change that Catherine had intended to put in and just got missed.
It's not in the rate order.
Correct.
Non-routine additional fees. This is really important. It says, the district shall charge the customer the district's total expense incurred in responding to the customer's request to investigate, and that is if the problem is on the customer side. This is not happening. This is not happening. They're being billed flat rates of $250, and the work order could be higher. This was a lot of the mistakes I found in last month's billing. Fees for associated expenses shall be billed to the customer on the customer next water bill. It's not happening. We had a customer complain 4 months after he called for service. It was on his side. 4 months later, he gets the charge on his water bill. So the rate order is how we charge our customers for the services we provide, and it must be followed to the letter. You can't change the rules once this document is published, and that's what's actually happening. So, Mackenzie, I would like you to run a report for me that shows the total deposit balance in all accounts. That way I can see how many people have paid multiple deposits and how big their deposit balance is.
And just for clarification, there were 5 accounts that you addressed for getting payments after the fact. And I did respond to you and all of them had received
No.
a bill back amount.
I had 7 accounts, you addressed 5 of them. The others have no explanation.
I'm looking at the email right now, and there are a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, is there a motion?
The motion is to redo the rate order to lower the deposits on rental customers to be in line with a property owner.
Your normal rate order changes are redlined, so just if you want to do it that way to make it easier for y'all, I'll be able to see it.
Ms. Fowle, will you clarify your motion as I read it? It was to redo the rate order, to reduce deposits,
Renters' deposits
renters' deposits, okay?
to be equal with homeowners.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
I would like to add, it might be best to make this change to the rate order after I've looked at the data, because if you have anything that shows me that a renter skips out on their bill more often than a property owner, and to amounts that support $1,000 worth of a deposit in a water account, I might reconsider that. But without looking at the data, the best I could do is no data.
Well, these, just for clarification, because I feel like you looked at me when you were talking about this, we didn't propose the deposit amounts.
No. It has nothing to do with you.
I just want that clarified. We don't set those, the board does, and we went based off of the previous board president, and that's who solely set these. So we'd be happy to provide you with whatever reports. If you'll send us an email clarifying exactly what you want, we'll run what we can out of the system and try to get you as much accurate data to show you ending account amounts for all renters for a certain period of time.
Is your understanding of this rate order that you charge a deposit every time you disconnect? Is that your understanding?
Okay, all right, hold on. We're just way out of order here. So are you withdrawing your motion?
No.
So.
Well, again, unless we can just, I don't know where it's breaking down. Is it the understanding of the words in the rate order that makes them charge a deposit every time?
It's that mixed with the language on the letter that they get specifically states you have to pay it. So that's part of it.
So the letter
So the
is
letter
not
needs to be
congruent to the rate
updated.
order.
Correct, and the last discussion, I have back and forth discussion, me and Megan have actually talked about this. Catherine had stated she wanted it to be specifically that it gets charged every single time. And that's why it was ran that way, understandably so. It's misconstrued on two separate pieces of documentation, correct?
Maybe then I will withdraw my motion, relook at all the information, and then come back with a new motion. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
and I
need
think
all that information.
We'll need to red line to the rate order to make it clear, and that's an easy process, but yeah, we'll pull you we can, I think, pull a data report of just closed accounts for a certain period of time and what the ending balance was, and I think we can classify.
Have you written any accounts off?
Yes.
You have, I wanna see those too.
Yeah, that's part of it, that's
Okay.
part of the report you can.
I withdraw my motion until I look at the rest of the data. You can add this as an agenda item for next month.
Okay.
I asked that
Madam
we
President,
adjourn.
that's our time over here, so I'll make myself available by phone if the board wishes to contact me. But
I
I'll
asked
make
that we
it,
adjourn.
my support staff off the clock as well as myself off the clock for matters that don't concern legal. And we'll review the minutes, or excuse me, the video to complete the minutes. Thank you, directors.
Thank you, Mr. Evans.
Yeah, I don't feel great about having a meeting without
No.
an attorney.
I will not.
And I don't, we've got some stuff on here, deed restriction report. I want an attorney for that. So,
And committee assignments.
yeah. So, I think we should adjourn, and we're just gonna have to finish next month.
Or
Are
maybe
you
we
making a motion?
consider hiring a new attorney.
Yeah, we can do that.
We'll be happy to put it on the agenda for you.
We don't need to have 3-hour meetings.
I know, but we gotta come up with some form or shape or format to cut him, but not the attorney call the shots and say, well, I'm walking off the meeting the day off at
You're
8:30.
not calling the shots, just saying that again, says provide the services that they don't provide for the night.
I make a motion.
What's your motion?
I'd like to propose an RFQ to replace the attorney with one that can accommodate the meeting.
We'll be happy to put an agenda item for you next month.
Second that motion?
Second the motion.
We have a vote? Discussion?
I'll say something, that in the state of Texas, there's no meetings that last this long for MUDs. It's ridiculous that ours lasts this long. We need to learn how to get it in order and put it together so that we can keep our lawyer. He's a good lawyer.
Thank you. Mr. Evans, let me,
Anything you'd like to say?
It's just not acceptable. I mean, you have an attorney that just leaves the meeting at 8:30 with no notice, you know. And the history of involvement, I mean, I've seen it. He's too emotionally involved in this whole setup. And I've watched it for a very long time. And the fact that he did today and the fact that he's not respecting the directors in this meeting tells me a lot about him.
It goes both ways.
I do, I understand.
Okay.
But we don't have a meeting because he decided it's done at 8:30.
There's more to it.
Okay, Director Fowl.
I agree with Hanoi wholeheartedly that the attorney is not good for this district. His conflicts are clearly noted, not just with one contractor, but with board members as well. Comments that he makes, if it was up to me, you two wouldn't be on the board. That's reported in a meeting in November. Those kind of things are not conducive to getting the business of this district done. We can do a lot better with a better attorney. We had another very highly qualified 15-year experience attorney apply when Zach Evans was hired. He actually scored higher with all the directors, and he was not selected because the board president at the time had a gut feeling that Zach would be better for the district. I am confident that we will have.
That is not true,
I will-
Director Fobb.
I am confident that we can find a qualified attorney willing to work for this district and do us a better service. And I would like to add that we can continue this meeting with a vote of 3 members and finish this agenda. The rest of it is really simple and doesn't require an attorney to get through it. It takes a vote of 3, that's all it takes to continue
That's
this meeting.
correct, and any director who doesn't wish to stay is welcome to leave.
Exactly. So the motion is an RFQ to replace McGinnis, and Roy gave me the second.
I still have to speak.
Oh, please.
Yeah.
I thought we were putting it on the agenda next month.
Motion's on the table.
Motion's on the table. No, I don't have anything.
Okay, motion on the table. All in favor? All opposed? Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. See you all next month.
I know.